here's the one that you put in: the key
Oh,
differences from our childhood to today's childhood, connectivity, accessibility, taboo topics, stuff like that. What did you mean by that? Like, start there.
Let's frame it around age 10.
Sure.
So I was 10 in 1999.
Okay.
I
always think that we're further apart in age than we actually are.
No, I mean, you're not far behind.
I was 10 in the year directly after that.
Right, yeah.
I always think that you're at least, 3 years.
Dude, somebody told me I look 44 the other day, and okay, thanks. I appreciate you letting me know my hair's fucking gray. I'm not, but thanks. So, I didn't have a cell phone.
Mm-hmm. What
they
age?
Didn't even have cell phones.
I'm trying to think what age I did get it. Like what? 13 or 14?
So for me, I got a cell phone in 2001. So I was 12.
Yeah.
That's because my grandmother was on it with that. Like the second that Singular Wireless even became a thing, they were
My wife just comes in and then she's like, "Okay, bye."
Dude,
can't even support.
It's no different than real life. She'll walk into a room, say something, walk right back out. I love her to death, like a sister, but she's just like, Alicia. Box it in. Focus. Come on. One thing. But yeah, so I got a cell phone early because I would, where I grew up, and this is another thing that we did when we were kids that kids don't really do now. We left, say summer vacation, I'd roll out at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, grab my bike.
And you were gone until midnight.
No, not even midnight. We knew to come home when the street lights came on.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we would call and on the landline, the corded landline,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey, do you mind if I stay here until such and such time? It's like, yeah, just have their parents, walk you back over or something like that. And for us, I lived directly across the street from my elementary school, but also from a very large park that had 8 soccer fields
mm-hmm.
and, tennis courts, playground, all that stuff. So we would go down to the park. And she just wanted to be able to get in touch with me in case something ever happened.
Yeah, that's basically the reason that my parents got me a cell phone was because I would go to friends' houses or I would go fishing or whatever, and if they needed me for something, I was gone a lot, so they'd be like, "Hey, come home and help us with this," or "Get your ass home and do this," and all they had to do was just call me.
Well, and it's the years prior, I can't tell you how many times it was running around and running around and running around. Where's Andy? I can't find Andy. Where's Andy? Where'd he go?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they found me, they were not happy. it was like, home.
Yeah. Where have you been? I was
right here.
I was over at so and so's house.
Yeah, I was right.
But I didn't know that.
So my first cell phone was a Motorola flip phone. It had the removable stainless steel covers that came in anodized colors.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it had it did not have an LCD screen in the sense of today's LCDs.
Yeah.
But I think they still called them LCDs.
Are you talking about the top of the phone or the actual when you flip it open?
You flip it open. So you flip it open. You had that. You had the snake version, where
mm-hmm.
pixels were the size of Texas.
Yeah.
And on the front, it actually had that little
It
window.
basically told you the time.
Yeah, it showed the date, time,
or missed call.
Yep, missed call. The number when you were calling. At least mine did.
It didn't display that on my screen.
Okay.
I think I had that same sort of phone, and I actually broke the one that I had. My parents got me when they got the plan where I was on it. I broke it and they bought one from a kid that I went to school with, and the only reason that I wanted it was because it had the a ringtone on it, and it was it was Crossfade. Never meant to be so cold.
Looking back at me. Yep.
That was the only reason I want, and it had like it had a red, like case thing on the top of it, like that top piece. It was red and not silver.
Right. So, you could text on those. Texting was extremely expensive. It was like,
Yeah,
I think 15 cents a text.
it was like, I think eventually they gave you like a plan, but it like
Yep.
what, you had free texting after a certain time, right?
It was nights and weekends. They did the night unlimited nights and weekends with free texting. Fast forward to my senior year in high school. My senior year in high school. I have graduated from high school at this point, and it was, I guess, 6-7 years later. I still had a flip phone. It was a Nokia. I think it was not a Nokia, a Motorola. Nokia. No. What the hell am I trying to say?
Are you thinking
It
of
was the
Motorola?
two-way.
Oh,
Nextel.
yeah.
So we had it on Nextel. It was the i730. We got in so much trouble with those in high school because you'd be like sitting in class and somebody'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
"You're a piece of-" and
Yep.
teachers like,
So I think it was when I was so I had a flip phone, and then they started coming out with like the ones with keyboard, like the Blackberries where they had the keyboard on it.
I got that after. Yeah.
And they had the ones that you could slide, so like you slid up the screen and it had a full keyboard there.
So they did the QWERTY keyboards.
Yeah,
like
so I had a flip phone, and then I went from the flip phone to I forget what it was. It was like, I forget, and it kept freezing on me. Like
Okay.
it had like the screen in the middle, and then you slid it, like you tilted it to the side and slid it up, and it had the full keyboard.
Was it Sidekick?
No, it wasn't that cool. It was same concept, but I forget what it was. Like it was
It
some
was like the Switchblade type phone thing.
it was some like variant of like something like that, but it kept freezing. And I went through 3 of them, and then they finally were like, yeah, like this, like they're recalling the phone or something because it kept freezing. So I got, I think that was when I got the first well, not the first iPhone, but the iPhone 3G.
Okay. So to qualify this because there is a reference point, like a comparison point,
Yeah.
the Nextel you had texting plans. I still did not have texting. I was not allowed to because
Like texting became a popular thing like when I was in high school.
but it did not have keyboards.
No. You had like the stupid, like you had to hit the
to-
same button like 5 fucking times.
Exactly.
And if you hit the next one too early, or you had like if you were trying to do M and N, you hit the M, and then if you didn't wait long enough and you went to hit the N, it changed the first one because it needed to go over, and you were just like, son of a bitch.
So this is an educating experience for everyone. That is where modern day shorthand text that
What
we
was that
still
called?
use,
T7.
T7.
That's what it was called.
That's where like BTW and LOL and
Yep.
WYD. That's all where it originated because we didn't fucking feel like typing that shit out.
That shit.
Now you
sucked.
can just like talk into it.
Yeah.
So this is what kids get today.
Yeah.
A laptop
That is
in your
standard.
pocket. Yeah, a laptop in your pocket.
We had like an internet browser on like these earlier ones, but it was nothing. It was like a custom internet browser, and it was the worst.
Yeah, dude, because they had to convert it all down to text and parse it out, and if the website didn't support it, it was just like garbage that you're not going to like.
A lot of broken links and broken image spots. And everything.
Yeah, like I'd be looking at it and I'd be like, why am I looking at raw CSS? And it's like, because I mean, I learned that at a very early age as well, and it's just crazy to think like kids have email at their fingertips. They've Snapchat, text messaging, not just text messaging, but like voice to text, phone calls. All we could do was phone call. And
dude, that just think about that from like a young man perspective. If like when I was in high school, if I wanted to talk to my girlfriend, I'd have to call her. And then later on, like, I could text her, and that was cool. But it was still such a pain where if we were having a long conversation or we wanted to, like, talk to each other, we'd have to call.
Yep.
So it's like, thinking about that, of, like, we had to call them and spend all that time on the phone. Where you're not doing that now.
The first time I called my high school girlfriend, we stayed on the phone until 3 a.m.
I've done that so many times back in high school, where, like, I think the last girlfriend that I had in high school, it was when Skype was like the big, because like you could video chat, so she would Skype me all the time
on a computer.
Yeah, on a computer.
That's all they do now.
Yeah,
on the phone. On the cell phone.
So we would Skype, this was after. This was shortly after high school.
I don't think Skype was when you were
this
in
was
high school.
shortly after high school. Maybe like the year after or so. We would Skype, and it got to the point where it's like, I don't want to Skype anymore, man. Like, I just want to play Call of Duty. Like, now, like, you don't have, like, kids don't have to do that now. Like, some of them will they probably do it? Maybe it's very possible.
What,
yeah,
Skype?
No, not Skype, but
or
like
FaceTime.
Not even FaceTime. Like, just talk on the phone.
Oh, dude, no, they get on FaceTime. Now it's not just you and somebody else. Now it's multiple people on one FaceTime call.
Do you want to know?
For hours.
The thing that I hate the fucking most is when I'm in a store and I'm walking around, like,
and somebody's on speaker?
Somebody's on FaceTime.
Oh, God, that's the worst.
In the store, and they're on speaker. Oh, my God, dude.
Do you know what I do?
I just want to, like, take their phone out of their hand and just chuck it.
Have you ever seen me do this?
No.
So if I find somebody like that, I actually photobomb it and say, hey, what's up? And they get all, like, pissed. It's probably wrong of me, but...
Oh, my God. And when I'm standing behind them in line and they're doing it, it makes it, like, 1,000 times. It's literally the equivalent of just taking a shit in the middle of my kitchen floor. That's what it feels like.
I'm about to do that. But so, like, it's very different. That's what I was meaning with, like, connectivity. Like,
it's crazy because you tend to see the difference in, like, the difference in kids. Like, there are parents that don't give in to that, and they don't give their kids, like, that access, and you can tell a night and day difference when you see them out in public. You don't even have to know the kid. You can see them and be like, holy shit. But if the kid has a phone, they're on it pretty much the whole time that they have access to it. They're texting friends or Snapchatting friends, or they're
oh, yeah, definitely.
Playing some game, or...
Like with my daughter, I mean, I have limits set up to where apps are only available for, like, certain amount of time each day.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tic-Tac-Toe, you can play it for, like, a half hour or 20 minutes, I think that one is. And then, like, Disney Plus is enough to watch one episode of a show. on school days, and then it changes for weekends.
Yeah.
Just in the concept of, well, I don't want you on it before school all that much.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to get ready to get to school on time, and then after school, you only have, about, we'll say 5.5 hours total between when
After
you get
school.
on the bus until when you go to bed.
Yeah.
And then it'll actually like close everything off at bedtime to where she can only text me or her mother, and she can only call me or her mother for an emergency if she was at like a sleepover or something.
Yeah.
But all of us in our generation grew up without this like abundance of connectivity. I mean, we even had the internet. We still didn't have the ability to reach out to all these ideas and stuff the way that these kids do today.
Yeah. I mean, think about back when we were kids and like the prime parts of the internet. Like, at least for me, if it was during the day, we'd be out skateboarding, or we'd be out fishing, or
Yep.
doing dumb, ridiculous things that would get us in trouble. Like,
Yeah, we're not
something.
sending a porta potty down a hill with somebody in it.
So we were out doing that like during the day, band practice, whatever it may be. And then nighttime was when it was like, get on the computer and be on it till 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, we stayed up late.
Yeah, like where it was like being on AIM Messenger, or
that was a staple.
going around in like Yahoo chat rooms, or
That was text messaging,
yeah,
but it was tied to
the computer. And it was like I said, like it was when you were on the computer, like you were on the computer, and it was like 9, 10 o'clock at night when your parents would go to bed, or when like they'd be wrapping up to go to bed, and you're like, all right, like it's time to go chat up, my friends, or this girl I have a crush on, or this person that just randomly gave me their AIM messaging name, and I'm just going to talk to him because I see him in school, whatever. And then you would be on MySpace, or like doing your profiles, or answering bulletins, or whatever you were doing. Like, you had social networking.
Social networking, not social media.
Yeah.
Because Facebook...
Wow, that's so crazy that I called it social networking in the context that it was actually social networking rather than it being rather than calling it social media.
Well, because...
That's crazy that I actually, spoke the difference.
Right? I think for you, based on the time difference, or the age difference... Facebook probably was like senior year that you got one, or maybe a little after.
It was probably a little after.
Right. So we went through our entire school.
Maybe it might have been senior year.
I mean, for me, it was 2007. I got one in 2007 after
That's
I was out of school.
That's probably when I had it, which was I graduated in 2008.
So that's when it was really like taking off, because I know I was one of the first kids in my class to get it. And that should like time box it for you. Literally all of our school exposure, all the time we were with kids, that was before that even existed. And now kids today are existing in a world where it's not removable.
And another thing too, like when it was time to be done school, and school was over, and you were back home, and you could play with your friends or do whatever you wanted to do, basically. Normally, like, I would get together with my friends.
Yep.
Because I had friends that lived close and, in like, the area. Or, like, their mom would drive them into town for the day, and then they'd pick them up, around dinner time or whatnot, or a little
Stacey's
after.
mom.
So we got to just interact. Like, we didn't have, like, even if we had a phone at that point, we were all together, so it didn't matter. Like, we weren't sitting there texting people. So, like, you think about if we wanted to talk to somebody, we would just hang out with them.
Yep.
So with kids and having it text messaging or whatever messaging application that they're using, you don't feel the need to hang out with them. You just go home and you're just like on your phone talking to them.
Yeah.
Like, and a big thing too is like, I feel like a lot of people like you don't have the town dynamic. Like you do, but there's some places that just like don't have that in town dynamic where they can just like roam the streets, hang out, do it. Like,
Oh yeah.
we live in an area that it's very much that dynamic.
You have fully lost the charm of small town America through all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that's kind of why I put it on the list to talk about, was because I hypothesize that the connectivity, or the level of connectivity that we have introduced into the world, is paradoxically isolating.
Yeah, because you have to think, like, the older that we get and, you know, the deeper that we get into, you know, our phones or looking at social media or the countless avenues of entertainment that we have, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu Live, like all of these things, like 10,000 video games, etc. Like all of these things that keep us at our house.
You're at your house.
You're at your house. You're in your comfort. You're watching TV while you're also texting your friend. Whereas like you could just be like, even if you were just hanging out with your friend watching Netflix, you're still socializing with somebody that isn't in your household.
So let's take this another way. I think you would agree that on that point that you just made, we've become very accustomed to being close without being close.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, having somebody there, just that security, that sense of...
Like when you would have friends over to
Yep.
your house and you'd be like, hey, let's play Nintendo.
Yep.
Or
Exactly.
whatever. Like, let's play this game.
Come
Now,
do this.
it's... Yeah, we've talked about this, but now it's just like, hey, I got this game. Do you have it? Cool, let's play. And you're 1,000
Across
miles
the
away. Yeah.
Picture a world now
Where you can't, like, some people can't even hang out because their friends live on the other side of the country or in another country.
So I want you to picture that tomorrow the internet goes away.
Okay.
Just away.
So the internet just ceases to exist.
Internet and cellular data.
Mm-hmm.
Texting is not a thing. You can no longer get in touch with anybody via your phone, via internet, via email.
Well, you gotta give me at least a rotary phone.
You don't have one.
Well,
You can go get one.
the option, yeah.
Sure, yeah, you can go get. Well, we can pretend that you have a landline, sure. Yeah. But yeah, just like tomorrow, all of a sudden, it's just like,
Okay. What, like, are you asking what I would do?
how many people do you think would feel pure and utter panic?
I'd say 99.9% of the entire country.
Right.
I would feel it too because I'm so connected now.
Well, I'm right there with you. It's like,
I like for example, last night, we had like these high winds and downpour like rains,
that's a good example.
and so there was a crazy transformer. Like you saw the video.
Yeah,
of,
dude, it was
like
didn't,
power lines zapping.
It was Bumblebee, right? Oh,
Basically.
No,
So
Yeah, it
we
was
didn't
wild.
we didn't have internet. Our internet went out. Power was fine.
on the house
Power was fine. Internet was gone.
for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Still had internet on your phones.
Yes. So Alicia went to bed, and I was like, all right, like I'll do what I do every night, and I'll sit here and I'll watch YouTube on the TV.
No.
I can't. And I was like,
You could have
if
you hotspotted your phone. to the
I don't
TV.
have the hotspot
What?
anymore. I got rid. That was so expensive.
Oh, that's right. You have. Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, well, I'll just scroll on my phone, and that's what I did. I just scrolled on my phone, like,
Doom scrolling.
dude, like it wasn't. I guess it wasn't like I wouldn't consider
That's
it.
total doom scrolling.
No, I was like doom scrolling. I consider like where you're just on like the short form like reels or whatever, and you're just. I wasn't doing that.
Doom scrolling is anytime you're on your phone and you're just like doing something on your phone to occupy yourself.
I guess that, yeah. I mean, fuck, that's a big problem with everybody now.
Yes, that's why it's a problem. But that was my point. Is like we've created a psychological dependency on other people's accessibility.
Yeah, like, you know, if we lost the internet and we had to go back like pre-internet, I at least have a lot of entertainment avenues. Like, I have a movie collection. I have shows in that movie collection where I could rewatch, you know, Beavis and Butthead, Friends, Big Bang Theory, Weeds, like Breaking Bad. Like, I could watch those series through disc. I have video games where I could pop in a video game and play them rather than, you know, having to stream it or download it on a console. So it's like, and I have CDs where if I wanted to listen to music, like, I have CDs. Like, half of my CD collection is probably the music that I listen to anyway.
So you should all be aware that if that happens and you need a resource for these things,
I'm your guy. I'll show up in like a big blue overcoat and like a purple hood and be like, "What are you buying?"
oh, it's not going that way. We're coming in here
just looting.
Bats and sledgehammers, baby.
So here's like, we'll end this conversation because I don't want to go too deep into it, even though like we could go deep.
Might want to come back to it.
We could come back to it. So I'll say this. You know, with physical media, with movie like DVDs, CDs, video games, hell, even books. So books are becoming
that's
kind of popular again.
But,
Like,
they never went out, but
I mean, I don't like. It's becoming like a trendy thing to do, like, you know, reading the spicy novels or.
Oh no, that's not the trendy thing to do. That's what single moms in their 30s do, in place of going out and dating. They just go and grab some smut.
That's very true.
On whatever freaking app it is. And because I get messages that are like excerpts from this shit, and I'll read them and I'll be like, "Why did you send me this?" And she's just like, "How do people say this in text?" And I'm like, "What do you mean how they say it? Why are you reading it?" Never mind that they said it. If you keep consuming it, they're going to keep putting it out there.
Dude, it gets graphic. But that's beside the point.
The guy that does the audiobooks.
Oh my god.
With the window down at the gas station. I didn't know this was supposed to feel like this. Continue your thought. Sorry.
So, you know, internet's down. Everybody now needs to rely on physical media. In the kind of world that we live in, where when something is in high demand, which entertainment would go into overdrive for demand, like people would be chomping at the bit for TV shows, like especially TV show series and movies, like people would be going nuts for that.
Oh yeah.
So you have all these secondhand stores like Goodwill, thrift shops, pawn shops that have just endless shelves of movies for like $1, $2, $3. Do those stores then just be like, pull the inventory, reprice it, $15 a piece, take it or leave it?
If they're smart. But they have a bigger problem if the internet's gone, because all of their
point of sale systems
are
screwed.
like merchant processing is out. It's cash only, and Nobody has actual cash anymore. They all carry card.